My husband's family humiliated me. I made them beg for forgiveness. I never thought these words would ever become a part of my life story. I was a 30-year-old American woman who believed in love, respect, and peaceful family life. I married my husband, Ethan, with a full heart and big dreams. I thought I was entering a family that would love me just as much as I loved him. But his family, they had a different story planned for me, one filled with insults, humiliation, and silent wounds that tore me apart slowly. It all began the first day I visited their house after the wedding. I still remember the smell of expensive candles, the coldness in the air, and the way his mother looked at me. That look, sharp, judgmental, like I was a mistake her son made. She didn't smile. She didn't hug me. She didn't even pretend to like me. Ethan tried to calm the tension by holding my hand, but his mother's eyes didn't leave me for 1 second. She scanned me from head to toe like she was trying to find something wrong. Her words came soon after. "So, this is the woman you chose," she said, as if she was disappointed before even knowing me. Those words stabbed me silently. I wanted to believe she was just nervous or awkward, but deep inside, something told me this was the beginning of a long nightmare. His sister joined in next. She laughed a little and said, "She looks so simple. Ethan, I always thought you would marry someone more classy." More classy. What did that even mean? I was a working woman, independent, educated, and confident. But that day, they managed to make me feel small, like I didn't belong in their world. I thought Ethan would defend me, but he stayed silent. His silence was louder than their insults. I tried to smile through it. I tried to be polite. I tried to connect with them. But every effort I made was destroyed by their whispers, their looks, their judgments. The worst part, they did it all in front of Ethan. And he never stood up for me. Weeks passed and things got worse. His mother would visit our home and point out everything I did wrong. The food was too salty. The house wasn't clean enough. I wasn't dressed well enough. I wasn't wife material for her precious son. Once she told Ethan directly, "You could have done so much better. She's too ordinary for you." Ordinary. That word burned inside me for months. Ethan didn't defend me. He just nodded and said, "Mom, please." But he never protected me the way a husband should. I started questioning myself. Was I really not good enough? Was I the problem? Was I expecting too much? But deep down, I knew I wasn't the problem. I knew I deserved respect. I just didn't know how to fight back at that time. Their humiliation reached its peak when they invited us to a family dinner, one they claimed was important. I dressed my best, hoping maybe this time things would be different. But they had a plan. When we reached their house, they pretended not to see me. They welcomed Ethan warmly, hugged him, laughed with him, and walked right past me, as if I didn't exist. His mother whispered loudly to his aunt, "I still don't know what he saw in her. She doesn't match our status. She's just nothing special." Something inside me broke that night. Everything I had tolerated, every insult I ignored, it suddenly felt too heavy to hold anymore. I looked at Ethan. He lowered his eyes. He didn't say a single word. I realized one thing that night. I married a man who loved me, but feared his family more than he respected me. I didn't cry in front of them. I didn't scream. I didn't defend myself. I just stood there silently, taking every word like a storm hitting my chest. But storms don't last forever. They create something new after they destroy everything. That night, something changed inside me. I made a promise to myself. One day, the people who humiliated me will bow their heads in regret. They will ask for my forgiveness. And they will learn that I am not the weak woman they thought I was. I didn't know how I would do it yet. I didn't know when it would happen. But I knew one thing for sure. My silence would not stay silence forever. That night, I slept with swollen eyes and a heavy heart. But when morning came, I woke up with a new fire inside me, a fire that would burn every insult they had thrown at me. This was not the end of my story. This was only the beginning. That night after the dinner, I sat alone in the living room while Ethan slept in the bedroom. I stared at the dark walls, trying to understand how the people who were supposed to become my family could treat me like a stranger, like an outsider who didn't deserve a place beside them. My chest hurt, but something inside me had changed forever. I realized they weren't just humiliating me. They were testing how much I could take. And now, I was done taking anything from them. The next morning, I woke up with a strange calmness. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I simply told Ethan, "Let's visit your family today. I want to talk." He looked confused, maybe even scared, but he agreed. I think he expected me to apologize to them or make peace. He didn't know the storm that had been born inside me. When we arrived at his parents' house, they were surprised to see us again so soon. His mother raised an eyebrow as if she already knew I was walking into a battlefield I couldn't win. She sat down comfortably and said, "So, what brings you here today?" This time, I did lower my eyes. I didn't stay silent. I didn't soften my voice. I looked straight into her eyes and said, "I came to tell you that I won't tolerate disrespect anymore." The room froze. His sister laughed, thinking I was joking. "Oh, please, you're too sensitive. We were just being honest." Honest? That word tasted bitter. I replied, "Honesty without kindness is cruelty, and I don't accept cruelty, especially from my own husband's family." For the first time, Ethan looked at me like he was seeing a different version of me, one he didn't even know existed. His mother leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Are you threatening us?" "No," I said calmly, "but you will regret the way you treated me. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but you will." Her eyes widened, and for a moment I saw a flicker of fear. She wasn't expecting strength from me, she was expecting weakness. We returned home after that, and everything felt cold between Ethan and me. He didn't like how I spoke to them. He said I disrespected his mother, but I didn't argue. I didn't try to convince him. I didn't defend myself. Because his mother wasn't my enemy. Silence wasn't my enemy. Even humiliation wasn't my enemy. My real enemy was Ethan's weakness. Weeks passed. I stopped visiting his family. I stopped trying to win their approval. Instead, I focused on myself. I began working harder at my job, taking courses, growing my income, and building my confidence again. And for the first time in my marriage, Ethan noticed my change. I was no longer the emotional, hurt wife. I was becoming someone stronger, someone they could no longer walk over. But with that strength came distance. Ethan started becoming uncomfortable. He didn't like seeing me independent and confident. One night when he came home late, I asked gently, "Where were you?" He replied coldly, "At my mother. She thinks you're trying to turn me against her." I stayed quiet, not because I was scared, but because I saw something clearly now. His family had always controlled him, and he let them do it. He continued, "She said you're acting like a victim just to gain pity." Victim. That word hit me hard. I walked to him slowly and said, "No, victims stay quiet. I'm not quiet anymore." He didn't respond. The gap between us widened each day. Whenever he visited his family, he returned home with anger and tension. They fed him with complaints about me. They twisted every action I took, and he allowed it. The real explosion happened on a Sunday afternoon. During a family gathering, Ethan insisted we attend. I didn't want to go, but I went. Not for them, for closure, for clarity, for the final crack that would free me from everything holding me back. When we walked in, everyone became silent again. I didn't care anymore. Suddenly, Ethan's mother said loudly, "Before we eat, I want to say something. Our family has always had high standards, and some of us don't meet them." Everyone looked at me. Even Ethan. He didn't stop her. That was the moment everything inside me snapped, not in anger, but in awakening. I rose from my seat, walked to the center of the room, and said softly but clearly, "You think you are humiliating me, but you don't know what I'm becoming. You don't know what power I'm gaining. And soon, very soon, you will come to me, not with insults, but with apologies." His mother scoffed. "What can you possibly do?" I smiled. Not arrogantly. Not angrily. Just confidently. "You'll see," I whispered. Then I turned around and walked out. Ethan didn't follow. Not that day. But that day, I began preparing for the revenge they never saw coming. A revenge not made of shouting. Not made of fighting. But made of rising so high, so strong, so successful, that their own pride would crush them. This was no longer a story of hurt. This was the beginning of a transformation that would make them fall to their knees and beg for the forgiveness they never gave me. After that day, I didn't return to Ethan's family home, not even once. I didn't call them. I didn't look for their approval. I didn't even talk about them. Because now I had a different goal. Not to destroy them, but to build myself so high that they would destroy their own pride trying to reach me. I focused completely on my life, my work, and my dreams. The more they tried to push me down, the higher I climbed. I worked day and night, built my own small business, and within months I began earning more than Ethan. I sharpened my skills, surrounded myself with good people, and healed all the wounds they had created in me. And healing turned into power. Real power. Ethan noticed my transformation. The confident woman I was becoming scared him. He didn't understand why I no longer needed his family's validation. He didn't understand why I no longer reacted to their insults. But what truly shook him was one evening when he came home and found me sitting with a letter in my hand. He asked, "What's that?" "My business approval," I replied calmly. "I'm expanding." His eyes widened. He never imagined I would succeed so much, so fast, and so silently. He whispered, "Why didn't you tell me?" I looked straight at him and said, "Because you never listened when I needed you." He had no answer. Day by day, my life grew brighter, and Ethan's family began to notice. They heard about my progress through neighbors, coworkers, and relatives. Their curiosity turned into irritation, then confusion, then jealousy. But the real turning point came unexpectedly. Ethan lost his job. He came home devastated, and for the first time in years, he needed me more than his family. His mother advised him to leave me, claiming I was becoming too dominant. But Ethan didn't leave. He stayed quiet. He stayed confused. He stayed guilty. My success grew even more. I hired employees, got a bigger office, and started earning numbers his family could never imagine. And that's when their true faces came out. One weekend, Ethan's mother called him and said, "We want to talk to her. Tell her to come." I didn't go. Not out of anger, but because I didn't owe them anything anymore. A week later, something unbelievable happened. They came to my office. All of them. His mother, his sister, his aunt. They walked into the building that belonged to the same woman they once called ordinary. I watched them stand in front of me, stiff and uncomfortable, their pride cracking like thin glass. His mother spoke first, her voice trembling. We came to talk." I kept my expression calm. Not rude. Not emotional. Just calm. She continued, "We misjudged you. We said things we shouldn't have said. We are sorry." Sorry. A word I thought I would never hear from her lips. His sister added softly, "We didn't know you had this potential." Potential. They couldn't say value. Their pride couldn't go that far. I stood up slowly, walked toward them and said, "I didn't want revenge. I only wanted respect. But you left me with one choice, to rise so high that you would see your mistakes from below." His mother looked down as tears filled her eyes. "I'm asking for your forgiveness," she whispered. That moment, I felt no anger, no hatred, no satisfaction in their humiliation. I felt peace. A peace that comes only when you realize you never needed revenge. You only needed to find yourself. I said gently, I forgive you, but forgiveness doesn't mean I forget, and it doesn't mean things will go back to what they were. They nodded silently. And then, something even more shocking happened. Ethan stepped forward, guilt written all over his face. He looked at me with trembling eyes and said, I'm sorry too for not standing beside you, for letting them hurt you, for staying silent when you needed me the most. For the first time in years, he spoke the truth. I took a deep breath and said, I loved you, Ethan, and I tried, but you let me fight alone. If a husband cannot protect his wife from his own family, then the marriage dies long before the divorce does. His face fell. His mother gasped. His sister froze. I continued softly, I'm done being the woman you all walked over. I'm choosing myself now. That day, I left the building alone. Not crying. Not broken. Not angry. I left with my head high. My heart free. My strength glowing like a fire that could never be put out. Ethan and his family learned something that day. The woman they humiliated became the woman they had to bow before. The woman they rejected became the woman they needed. The woman they insulted became the woman they begged for forgiveness. And I finally became the woman I was always meant to be. A woman who rose from pain and turned it into power.